Hello, friends. Robert Bevan here, author of the Caverns and Creatures series of comedy, fantasy novels, and short stories. With me is Sam West, and today we're talking about the spell Astral Projection.
Yeah, otherworldly, out of body experience. Like that's just what this is. It's crazy.
Yeah, there are a number of reasons I've never used this spell.
Yep.
I don't normally get up to 9th level spell casting ability, and this one is just not interesting to me. It's one of those things that, like, I guess for the I don't know who this is for.
Let's
I
get
know
into
it's
it.
not for me. Yeah. All right. What does it do?
Okay, so this is a long 9th level spell, which are in my opinion, what 9th level spells should be. Now, as far as like lengthwise, this one on its own, we'll get there. This is an hour cast time for a 9th level necromancy. It's got a range of 10 feet, which is weird that it takes an hour, but again, we'll cover all this in a second. It requires material components and the verbal somatic and stuff, but for each creature you affect with the spell, you need at least a grand, a special bar, which is consumed. So every time you cast this, you need 1,000 gold piece, Jacinth. How do you pronounce that word? Jacinth.
I would have said Jacinth, but I'm
Sure, let's
probably
go
wrong.
with that. Listen, I'm also probably wrong. So the internet, YouTube comments, you can tell us how we're wrong, and that'll be great.
It's gay ass.
That's got to be it.
Yeah.
It's this conversation all over again. So you need 1,000 grand of that and a carved bar of silver with at least 100 gold. So you need 1,100 gold per person, which the spell eats. They're gone forever once you do that. And it's got a duration of special, which is always going to be fun, exciting. So you get up to 8 willing creatures, which again, that can cost you upwards of 9 grand. If you use all those people, because 9 creatures in total, because you and 8 other willing. Project your bodies onto the astral plane. The material body you leave behind is unconscious in a suspended state of animation. It doesn't need air or food and doesn't age. So, like, hypothetically, you and your buddies can just go on a planar jaunt to the astral, and if you don't land anywhere, you can just do that forever, as long as your bodies aren't like exploded. Your astral body resembles your mortal form in almost every way. You get your game statistics, your possessions, all that fun stuff. The principal difference is a silvery cord that extends between your shoulder blades and trails behind you for about a foot before it turns invisible, and it tethers your body to the material body. So you have like this astral form that's flying around with this weird tether that's hypothetically invisibly going all the way back, however far you travel to your body. As long as the tether is intact, you can always find your way back to your body, and if it's cut, your soul and body are separated, killing you instantly. That's in the spell. You can just randomly die. Your astral form can now freely travel to the astral plane while you got the little thing on. You can pass through portals that lead you to other planes of existence. You can go and enter a new plane. Your body kind of like teleports where you enter into, so you're like actually physically there.
Your physical body comes along
yes.
for the ride? Oh.
So if you entered a new plane or return to the plane you were on when casting the spell, your body and possessions are transported along the silver cord, allowing you to re-enter your body at the new place. Your astral form is a separate incarnation of your physical form, which is weird that they put this here, but whatever. Any damage or effects that affect your astral form don't affect your physical form, and vice versa. So if someone's kicking you in the stomach while you're, your physical body while you're on the astral, you have no idea, as your physical body takes 3 points of damage each round, while you're off, venturing through the astral plane, which we'll touch on what that looks like and why it's a complicated mess. The spell ends for you and your companions if you dismiss it, and when it ends, you return to your physical body and awaken. So, like, you guys throw them back to your form. The spell also might end early for one of you or your companions. Dispel magic breaks it. If a creature's original body drops to 0 HP, the spell ends for that creature. If the spell ends and the silver cord is intact, you go back to your body. Otherwise, you die. Yeah, you die. If you're returned to your body prematurely, your companions remain in their astral forms and must find their own way back to their bodies, usually by dropping to 0 hit points. This spell is a lot.
Yeah.
And me going through it, trying to explain it, doesn't really, I don't think, help all that much. And I think the reason that is navigating the astral plane isn't particularly well established for a lot of DMs and players. It's not something that I would say should be in the player's handbook. I would say it's something that you would expect in a Spelljammer book, or you would expect in some other module that's dedicated to extraplanar shenanigans. This leaves Astral Projection, the majority of tables, being one of those spells where you go, that's weird. Do we want to stop playing our game and go somewhere else? Because that's kind of what it does. And it's not like it's particularly easy to use to go back and forth either. Like once you cast this and you venture out into the astral for, I don't know, how long it takes to navigate the astral. Is it a year? Are you just swimming through effectively space? Kind of. So then finding portals that take you elsewhere. How do you get back? Is it consistent? There's a whole laundry list of questions as to the actual legitimacy of like, how does this function? How will we get around that make it so? I mean, I'm never going to deal with it. If my player wants to take Astral Projection, I'll be like, no. I'm just going to give you a spell jamming chip, and we're going to pull that book out, and you're going to fly around across the plains like a sailor, because I can comprehend that way better than I can comprehend this.
Yeah, see, I don't. I think we've had a similar discussion before. I just don't really get planes very much. Except the ethereal plane, I kind of get that. It's just there alongside the prime material plane or whatever, and then but there's ghosts and you can walk through walls and stuff. Okay, I can kind of wrap my head around that. But other planes, it doesn't work the same way. They're just like different places.
So that's, I think, my biggest problem with it. You just nailed it right on the head. The ethereal plane is a very separate thing to me than the plane of fire, than the plane of water, than the Feywild.
Right.
And even like the Feywild and Shadowfell function, they're supposed to function kind of like the ethereal, where they're like layers. So like things, sometimes the depictions of the Shadowfell and Feywild will be like mirrors of the material plane. So it'll be the plane we're on, the material, the ethereal, which is this weird, illusory, ghostly form space that is just also the material plane, like that. It's like they're on top of each other. But then you'll have the Feywild, which is like the material plane, but fantastical and magical and full of high emotion. And then you have the Shadowfell, which is like the dreary life's been sucked out of it, material plane. And like that kind of exists, with Evernight being this mirrored version of not Baldur's Gate, one of the cities in the Forgotten Realms, and like the big canonical lore. And then getting some weird territory of like, well, these are different spaces though. And it becomes, to me, a real big convoluted mess. And the way I typically find that I run them is planes are just places. Planes are planets from my perspective, right? Outside of the ethereal, which is very clearly its own thing. Yeah. I look at planes like the astral, for example. The astral sea is this big, giant bubble of stuff. And it gives a wishy-washy way of flowing through a universe and finding portals and finding planes. And like you can connect and go through space, basically, as in Magic, and it works that way. It's just you visit different places, you can fly between the different planes. Some of them are closer than others, some of them cross over weird spots, there's weird portals and stuff. It's a big nonsensical, very difficult to like envision a high magic idea. And it makes things like trying to get them to work consistently table to table almost impossible, because this is just my understanding and how I would run it and how I have run planar travel. I'm not by any means an expert on the actual way these things are supposed to. Or like, I have not read all of the lore around all of extraplanar nonsense. I have not gone through the grand cosmologies. There's different, I don't want to call it scientific, but they feel scientific models of how the planes are supposed to function, and they've changed. So like some of them from older editions don't hold up, but some of them do, and then there's inconsistencies. It's a big hulking mess. And all of that is to say, making spells for it, if you aren't giving really detailed, concrete rules as to this is how this works, like that is accessible to a dungeon master, it's gonna make it challenging, to say the least, to function and run with. So I just wouldn't. I would just say,
that's what I was gonna say. I mean, all this planar nonsense, that's if a DM wants that headache, fine. But as for me as a player, all right, I'm floating through the astral plane. Let me know if there's a goblin I could stab,
Like it very much feels like okay, DM, I cast Astral Projection. What do we find? And it's like, what are you expecting to happen here? The DM's just like, I guess improving the astral sea real quick. There's after 3 hours of travel, you stumble across a weird portal leading to Mechanus. I don't know. Like that's what it feels like to me. And that should tell everyone that this isn't a 9th level spell. Like this isn't something you take as a character at 9th level to get new ways to explore the world. This is just shitty plane shift. Like that's fundamentally what Astral Projection does.
Yeah, I don't even know the questions to ask. I was just kind of zoning out while you were reading over the descriptions. This is stuff I'm never ever going to care about.
I mean, like conceivably maybe you are a DM that wants to incorporate this into your upper tier game. So you say, okay, you have to go get some like a infiltration mission on the astral plane. So like the players have to flow through like astronauts going through space to attach onto some like astral fortress and infiltrate it while their bodies are there. And then you can use their tethered cord as like an extra layer of insta-kill tension where like if any of them get severed, they just die. So there's like this potentially high tension, high stakes mission kind of deal. But it feels really shitty just to be like, yeah, a astral ninja comes out with a katana and kills you instantly. And you're like, I guess that's what happens. Like, I don't know how you use that in a really interesting way. Because it's
that's not high stakes. That's like, all right, is the DM gonna be a dick or not?
That's kind of what it feels like, right? If there was a mechanic behind it, like if it was like, oh yeah, if your cord gets severed, you get a minute to reattach it, or you get like even like 3 rounds to reattach it. Then you have like this somewhat, oh shit, get it back on, fix it up kind of thing. Maybe there's like some gameplay elements you can do there. I think if you're a DM and you want to do stuff with this spell, because again, if you're a player, you don't look at this. This isn't worth your time. This isn't something that you can say as a player, I'm going to make this work. It's something that the DM has to go, okay, we're doing the astral projection thing now. If you're a DM that wants to do the astral projection thing, look into altering things like that. Really delve into how you can make this interesting to explore the astral sea and adventure in the astral sea, that kind of deal. Make sure you have a cleric, preferably, because they don't lose anything in taking this 9th level, so they can just prepare it when they need it, and then spend 10 grand, and then do go to the astral sea adventure. I don't know. I think the whole of it is a whole suite of problems that the game really will never touch on. I would hazard a guess that Astral Projection has been successfully and satisfyingly cast in less than 10 games in the human history. That's where I think this spell lands comfortably for me. So that's a long way of saying don't cast it.
I disagree. I think there's probably more than 10 tables in history that you're uber nerds who are like, every one of the tables like deep into the lore and like, oh, I've been waiting for 6 months to finally level up to where I can get astral projection, and it's planar travel time.
But so if you're going to do the planar travel, plane shift is lower level than this.
Well, but I want to do it astrally. I don't even understand it all.
Sure.
I'm not one of those people.
Yeah, same. It's plane shift 7th level if you want to do planar travel. But in any case, so I think that also pilots another really important thing, Bob. These players that do want to do this say, okay, great, I'm so excited. In 6 months, when I'm level 17, we'll finally be able to do the thing that lets us do the plane traveling nonsense. Astral projection as a spell, if this is how you want to explore, if this is the kind of game you want to play, this should be, I would say, a lower stakes, like not insta-death kind of feature that lets players just go and explore a new world. And that probably is a ritual that they should have access to basically whenever, right? This isn't something that you put into a game that changes like how you can infiltrate a baddie's lair. This isn't a way that like gives players a new tool like etherealness does, where you can just start walking through walls, and it doesn't give you the tools of, Meteor Swarm or Wish to radically change the world around you. This changes fundamentally the axis in which you're playing Dungeons and Dragons. This puts you into a very different genre. And those kinds of effects shouldn't gate the tier of play you're in. This is something that like a fighter should be able to, using in a plane shifting kind of game, have access to a way to use this feature to explore and be able to explore in that space, in that setting. That's what Spelljammer is. That's the whole goal and idea behind it. So gating it at a 9th level spell, saying that you need to be so high tier to get access to this exploration, means that the people that want to do it are going to have a way harder time actually doing it. And it's going to make it so that the kinds of exploration and like astral fun that can happen in plane traveling, going through the different planes, exploring the astral, it's just gated to the so few people that it ultimately kills like a setting. And that's a bummer to me. That's like, I think there's some coolness there.
What is the difference between this and plane shift?
This lets you explore the astral. Plane shift takes you to the plane you want to go.
Including the astral.
Yeah. Including the astral. The idea is the astral is like connecting all of the planes in my mind. Again, I could be wrong. I don't have the greatest grasp of it. So astral projection like lets you use and hypothetically go wherever you want. But plane shift, you just say, okay, I pick it even recommends like the Steel Street before the Gates of Ash on the City of Brass, and you're there. That seems like a better way to do the plane traveling adventure, especially because it happens earlier. And like 13th level isn't that much earlier, but it's still earlier. So I don't know, man.
Yeah, that's I mean, can other people tag along
Up to
in
8 willing
plane
creatures.
shift? I mean, in plane shift.
Yep.
Oh,
It has the exact same, you link hands. It's very cute. Everyone
Okay.
goes, all right, we get in a little circle. We all link hands. Everyone ready to go. Bam, you plane travel.
well, I don't get the advantage of astral projection then. You're
Neither do
limited
I.
to the astral plane, and you have a instant death tether.
Yep. Correct.
All right. Well,
I don't see it. It is so non-functional. I can't consider it a 9th level spell. Like, just
no,
say
if I'm gonna use a 9th level spell for astral plane travel, I'm gonna use wish and use that as a plane shift.
plane shift. Yeah.
Yeah.
It
I don't
is
know.
a little baffling to me.
Yeah, me too. I don't think we're solving the world's problems here with this one tonight.
Nope.
All right. You got a score for this?
Uncastable garbage 1.
Yeah, me too.
I've never given something a 0 before, but this is, I think I have to, because this just isn't actively something that you shouldn't take. It's something that doesn't work. This is a spell that when you cast it, the outcome is entirely undeterminable. It might do nothing. It might be something that the DM just has no idea how to prep for. You might put it on your character sheet, show up to a session, and they go, no, that doesn't work. And that's baffling to me that there's a spell that can exist that has that problem. And Astral Projection is it.
All right. Well, we are on a rating scale from 1 to 5.
It's a 1 then. It's a 1
it's
then.
really lame to say, if I could give this a 0, I would. I get a bunch of book reviews. I know this review very well.
Okay, 1 star then. Garbage.
Okay.
Uncastable. It's truly terrible. This is up there for worst spells in the game.
Yeah, I'm not gonna argue with you. All right, well, that was Astral Projection. Thank you, Sam, and thank you everyone for joining us. If you would like to explain to us why we're wrong, leave a comment below.
The more heated, the better.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's it. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye. Thank you for watching. If you found this helpful, informative, or entertaining, I'd really appreciate it if you hit the like button below. You needn't smash it. A gentle tap will suffice. If you want to see more videos like this, subscribe to the channel. And make sure you check out the links in the description, where you'll find my Caverns Creatures series of comedy fantasy novels, Sam's full review of the spell, and other fun things.